Hi, I'm JOLY. This is my channel, China's New Playbook. In episode 5, I showed you the certification moat, the 3 to 5 year barrier that makes eVTOL OEMs nearly uncatchable. Globally, 2 eVTOL models have obtained full CAAC type certificates. One passenger carrying, one cargo carrying. Both are Chinese platforms. I told you that Moat was the single most important barrier to entry in the sector. And the gap is not narrowing. As of August 2026, Yihang has built over 40 operational sites across China, and is already operating commercially in cities including Guangzhou and Hefei. And all the flights cargo TC came through in 2024. Joby Aviation remains in FAA Stage 5 certification testing, with initial targets for late 2026. Certification could slip into 2027. Archer trails Joby in certification progress, with analysts forecasting potential certification as late as 2028. Volocopter in Europe has been chasing EASA type certificate for years, with multiple delays. Multiple Western OEMs are still pursuing certification. None has crossed the finish line. China is not just ahead, it is 3 to 5 years ahead, and the gap is widening. But I didn't tell you the full story. That same moat doesn't stop at the OEM. It propagates one layer deeper into the supply chain, and the companies holding this hidden moat might be the safer bet. Here's what I mean. When CAAC certifies an eVTOL, it doesn't just certify the aircraft design in the abstract. It certifies a specific configuration, specific components from specific suppliers, tested as an integrated system. If the OEM wants to switch a flight control supplier, that is not a procurement decision. It is a regulatory event that takes 1 to 3 years. By the end of this report, you will understand why eVTOL's real lock-in is not at the aircraft level. It is at a component level. And you will see why that lets you bet on the sector's growth, without having to pick the winning OEM. Let me explain how this works. Under China's CCAR-21 regulation, the Civil Aviation Airworthiness Rules, when CAAC issues a type certificate for an eVTOL, it certifies a specific type design. That type design includes the exact components from specific suppliers that make up the aircraft. The type certificate datasheet records these configurations down to the supplier level. Now, if an OEM wants to switch its flight control computer from supplier A to supplier B, what happens? Under CCAR-21 Section 21.93, this is classified based on the impact on the aircraft. For critical components, parts whose failure would directly endanger safe flight, any supply change is automatically classified as a major design change. That means resubmitting compliance data, rerunning lab tests, potentially reflying certification flight tests. A process that takes 1 to 3 years, during which the OEM cannot commercially use the new supplier's component. Let me put that in plain terms. In traditional automotive, Toyota can switch a steering wheel supplier in months, a quality audit, a trial run, done. In consumer electronics, Apple can swap a camera module supplier in weeks. But in eVTOL, switching a flight control supplier can ground your entire certified fleet for years. That is a structural difference that does not exist in any other manufacturing sector. And it is a foundation of everything I'm about to show you. This creates what I call binding economics. Once a component supplier is designed into a certified eVTOL and passes certification, the OEM is effectively locked in. The supplier gains three things. First, multi-year revenue visibility. The OEM cannot switch without recertification. Every unit the OEM produces, the supplier gets revenue for the entire certification cycle, which can last 5 to 10 years. Second, pricing power. The supplier can raise prices, and the OEM's alternative is to spend years and millions recertifying a replacement. The math is simple. Accepting a 10% price increase is cheaper than a 2-year recertification program, every time. Third, multi-customer potential. A qualified supplier is not locked to one OEM. If their component passes certification on Yihang's platform, they have a credibility signal that reduces the barrier to qualifying on Volant's or Autoflight's next platform. Let me give you a concrete number. eVTOL batteries currently sell for $400 to $700 per kilowatt hour. That is 4 to 6 times the price of automotive batteries, which sit at around $110 per kilowatt hour. Why? On thermal timing requirements alone, cars have caught up. China's new national standard, effective July 2026 for newly approved vehicles. Existing models have a 1-year transition. Requires no fire or explosion over a 2-hour observation window after a single cell failure. Aviation adds many additional requirements. Cell-to-cell thermal barriers are engineered in many eVTOL programs to withstand 300 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes to stop thermal runaway spread. Packs must pass severe crash survivability impact, testing far stricter than automotive norms. And the DO-311A related certification testing, documentation, and validation work can consume 20 to 30% of overall battery system development costs. The certification premium is the pricing power. That 4 to 6 times multiplier is not a margin story. It is a certification story. Now, here's the strategic insight that connects episode 5 to episode 6. When you invest in an eVTOL OEM, you're making a binary bet. Will this company's design win the market? If you pick wrong, you lose. Episode 5 gives you 4 OEMs to choose from: Volant, TCAAC, Xiaopen Aero HT, Aero Fuji. Each one is a different bet on a different design philosophy. When you invest in component supplier, say a flight control system maker, you are making a different bet. You are betting that the sector grows. Because if the sector grows, every OEM needs flight control systems. Yihang needs them, Volant needs them, Autoflight needs them, Xiaopen Aero HT needs them. You do not need to pick the winning OEM. You need the sector to grow, which is exactly what episode 5's macro thesis established. This is the picks and shovels logic, but with a twist that only exists in certified industries. In a gold rush, anyone can make picks. In eVTOL, only certified component suppliers can play. And once they are in for the entire certification cycle. Pause and ask yourself, in your current portfolio, Are you betting on specific OEMs or are you betting on the sector? Because the component layer lets you do the latter with lower binary risk. So here's the bottom line. Certification lock-in does not stop at the OEM. It runs one layer deeper into the components, and that is where the quieter, safer bets in this sector live. In the next episode, I will rank every subsector by certification lock-in intensity and show you exactly where the hidden moats are and who holds them. I will see you in the next report.